After 2 years of waiting and the cancellation of FM25, fans expected greatness, but Football Manager 26 has instead become one of Steam's lowest-rated games. From missing features to a messy new interface, longtime managers are asking the same question: how did the world's most trusted football sim lose its magic? When Football Manager 26 was announced, it carried the weight of enormous expectations. After the complete cancellation of FM25, fans believed this would be the series' great comeback, the moment Sports Interactive would reinvent the franchise with fresh technology, refined realism, and long-promised improvements. Instead, what players received felt like a half-finished product, buggy, stripped down, and awkwardly redesigned. Within days of launch, FM26 went from one of the most anticipated sports simulations of the decade to one of the worst-rated games on Steam's charts. The outrage isn't just about technical flaws, it's about betrayal of trust. Longtime fans who have invested thousands of hours managing virtual clubs feel that the new version has lost the essence of what made Football Manager great. The revamped interface is confusing, beloved features are missing, and the experience feels shallow compared to past titles. What was meant to be a leap forward has, for many, become a step backward, sparking an online storm of disappointment, debate, and demands for answers. Would you like me to continue with the main analysis section that breaks down the key reasons, bugs, UI issues, missing features, and expectations gap, right after this introduction? 1. Key complaints: buggy, unpolished launch. Numerous players report crashes, performance issues, and generally rough behavior across platforms. The game was delayed, with the previous iteration cancelled, and yet, many feel FM26 still launched in an incomplete state. For example, it simulates faster because they have removed a lot of information. It's an arcade game now. This release is as awful as never before. Steam reviews are overwhelmingly negative soon after launch, indicating strong dissatisfaction. 2. User interface, UI, and usability issues. A major redesign of the UI has led to many fans feeling things are harder to navigate, less intuitive, and that common functions are hidden or require more clicks. Example: stats are hard to find or removed entirely. The data hub feels stripped back. Sports Interactive communities believe that the UI changes were influenced by console, mobile design priorities, which don't align with the PC hardcore audience's expectations. 3. Missing features, content reduction. Some previously available features, or at least features expected by long-time players, are reported as missing, cut back, or reworked in a way disliked. Examples include inability to call team meetings in the same way, youth, U21 tactics being restricted, certain stats, heat maps, pass maps, being removed or harder to find. The feeling from some is that while some big new features were added, e.g., women's leagues, other core features were downgraded. 4. High expectations plus long wait. The build-up to FM26 was large. Sports Interactive had cancelled FM25 to focus on the next iteration, which raised expectations for big improvements. Because the developer made that decision, to delay, cancel, and announced a fresh foundation, new engine, etc., many players expected a major leap forward, and feel those expectations were not met. The mismatch between expectation and reality amplifies the frustration. 5. Core gameplay versus management balance. Some players feel that while the match engine improvements are good, the managerial side, the management sim part, was neglected. For example, Match Day feels more like spectating than managing. The series is beloved for its deep management systems. Any perceived shift away from that core appeal is met with criticism. What works? So fans are more disappointed. It's worth noting that not everything is criticized, which is part of why the disappointment is so strong. The potential is there, but fans feel it wasn't fully realized. The match engine, on-pitch simulation, has been praised by some reviewers as a meaningful improvement. Adding women's leagues and broader licensing is a positive step in the series' evolution. Some players feel there are good elements under the surface, particularly tactical improvements. Why this frustration hits harder for this release? Because FM26 was positioned as a big release, 2-year development after FM25 cancellation. Fans believe the devs had time to polish and make it special. The series has a dedicated core fanbase who invest many hours into each iteration. When their long-term habits and expectations are disrupted, e.g., UI changes, missing features, the reaction is strong. The legacy factor. If you've been playing since many years ago, you compare not just to last year, but to what you expect the series to deliver. The cost of entry. Paying full price for a game and feeling like major issues remain or things are harder than in previous versions magnifies dissatisfaction. My take: should you still play it? If I were to summarize, FM26 has some very positive under-the-hood changes, match engine, broader representation, but it also has clear missteps, UI, missing features, bugs, usability, that impact the core experience for many players. For newcomers it might be less frustrating, but for longtime fans who know what to expect, these changes and omissions are more glaring. If you're asking, should I buy it now? I'd suggest, if you're deeply invested in the franchise and want the finished experience, you might wait for a few patches, updates, and community feedback. If you're curious and okay with some rough edges, and maybe willing to mod or work around some issues, then you might get enjoyment from it. If you are comparing to the previous entry you loved, consider sticking with the older one until this one stabilizes. Key news additions from Games Radar. After a 2-year wait, Football Manager 26 becomes the 7th worst rated Steam game ever as the bug-laden sequel is slammed for poor UI, missing features, and more. This emphasizes just how severe the backlash is. FM26 is being publicly ranked among the worst on Steam shortly after launch. The article lists major complaints, technical issues, bugs, crashes, interface redesigns disliked by users, and features being removed or degraded. From PC Gamer, Football Manager 26 launches straight into a relegation battle as Steam reviews plummet to mostly negative. Been playing since 1993 and this is the worst one. Longtime fans, some playing since the early 1990s, are expressing that this might be the worst entry in the franchise. Also reports large numbers of bugs, 13,000 plus mentioned, and poor optimization as a key reason for the negative response. From Windows Central, Football Manager 26 kicks off on Xbox Game Pass. Here's which tier you'll need to play. This is more of a platform availability news piece rather than criticism, but still relevant as it shows the widespread launch on major services, PC plus console via Game Pass. Availability is high, meaning many players are getting access, which may amplify early negative reactions when expectations don't match experience. From 442, We Looked Stupid, Football Manager director reveals costliness of embarrassing FM25 cancellation. Important background. The previous version, FM25, was cancelled entirely. That cancellation raised expectations that FM26 would be a major leap. The director admits the studio felt embarrassed and the cost was high, which sets the stage for user expectation being high, and thus disappointment more acute. It also connects to the narrative that the series is under pressure to deliver a big jump, this time. From The Guardian, Football Manager 25 video game cancelled after series of delays. More context. FM25's cancellation means there was a longer gap, or a missed version, leading into FM26. That gap increases the expectation of a major upgrade, and also may create impatience, frustration in the community. From TalkSport, Too Far Away, Football Manager 25 organizers post lengthy apology to explain why they had to scrap game. Further context on how the developer communicated to fans, acknowledging they were too far away from the quality they wanted. While transparency is good, it also flags to the community that big changes were planned but missed, and that carries risk. How this ties into why people are unhappy. The news items confirm many of the key complaint areas: bugs, performance issues, UI, UX problems, missing features. Because FM26 had extra time, due to the cancelled FM25, and high expectation, new engine, major changes, the disappointment is greater, as confirmed by the director's statements. The community reaction in the news article shows that what could possibly have been tolerated in a normal year is less tolerable when you've waited longer. Availability on big platforms, Game Pass, means more users get early access, which means more early feedback, more spotlight on problems. The cancellation of FM25 signals to fans, we paused a year so we can deliver something bigger, so when FM26 still has major issues, it feels like a bigger letdown. Detailed timeline of major events after the unexpected cancellation of Football Manager 25, FM25, in February 2025. Developer Sports Interactive, SI, found itself under immense pressure to redeem the franchise with its next release. The studio openly admitted that FM25 did not meet our standards, choosing to scrap it entirely and focus resources on building a stronger foundation for the following installment. This decision, though applauded for its honesty, set fan expectations sky high. After all, skipping a yearly release implied that FM26 would be a revolutionary leap forward rather than a routine update. The silence following the cancellation lasted for months until August 2025, when SI finally broke cover with the first official teaser for Football Manager 26. The reveal promised a new era for the series. A complete rebuild using the Unity engine, deeper realism, and long-awaited additions such as fully licensed competitions and the inclusion of women's football. The buzz quickly reignited, and by September 2025, the official release date, November 4th, was confirmed. Marketing positioned FM26 as the franchise's fresh start, backed by ambitious claims of smoother performance, improved visuals, and refined data presentation. In October 2025, the hype intensified with the announcement of a multi-year partnership with FIFA, hinting at official tournament and branding integrations that could elevate the game's authenticity. The community interpreted this as further proof that the long wait would be worth it. Yet, despite the optimism, warning signs emerged when the developers revealed that certain modes, such as international management, would not be ready for launch due to time constraints. On November 4, 2025, Football Manager 26 finally launched worldwide across PC, console, and Game Pass. What should have been a triumphant return quickly turned chaotic. Within days, user reviews plummeted to mostly negative on Steam, citing pervasive bugs, crashes, a confusingly redesigned interface, and missing features. Longtime fans, some who had played since the early 1990s, described FM26 as the worst version ever, frustrated that 2 years of extra development had yielded an unpolished, incomplete experience. SI responded swiftly, acknowledging community anger and releasing patch 26.0.4, which reportedly included over 300 fixes addressing stability, interface clarity, and quality of life improvements. Developers promised more updates and reassured fans that FM26's foundation was solid, even if the execution had faltered. But the damage to reputation was already significant. After the bold cancellation of FM25 and a heavily marketed comeback, FM26's rocky debut became one of the most disappointing chapters in the series' long history, a lesson in how high expectations and ambitious overhauls can collide with production reality. Why this timeline matters: the cancellation of FM25 set a unique context. Skipping a year raised both anticipation and pressure. The August teaser broke what had been a quiet period, rekindling interest but also spotlighting how long the wait had been. Announcing a firm release date in September gave clarity, but left only approximately 2 months till launch, shorter than many major titles' marketing windows. The licensing and engine change messaging, Unity engine, FIFA partnership, highlighted big changes, which raises player expectations for a step forward. The launch schedule, PC, console first, Switch later, plus the switch to a new engine are both technically ambitious and logistically risky. Because of that ambition plus short time frame, it's perhaps unsurprising that bugs, missing features, and UI changes became key complaints, as you already know. Having such a clear timeline helps explain why some things may have been rushed or deferred. Football Manager 26 was meant to be a milestone, a bold restart for one of gaming's most beloved management franchises. Instead, it became a cautionary tale of how ambition, delays, and expectation can collide to produce frustration. The game's underlying potential is clear: a powerful new engine, expanded leagues, and long overdue inclusivity through women's football. Yet, the execution fell short of its promise. For many fans, FM26 feels less like a revolution and more like a rushed beta of what could eventually become great. Still, all is not lost. Sports Interactive has a history of listening to its community, and the patches already released prove that feedback is shaping improvements. The developers have an opportunity, perhaps their most important one yet, to rebuild trust, stabilize performance, and restore the tactical depth that made Football Manager legendary. Right finger if you're a long-time fan. Keep sharing constructive feedback through official forums and Steam reviews, your voice genuinely drives change. Right finger if you're new to the series. Give it time. Wait for upcoming updates and patches before judging what FM26 can truly become. Right finger and if you're part of the development or modding community. Help refine what's there. The spirit of Football Manager has always been collaboration between creators and players. In the end, Football Manager 26 is more than a disappointment. It's a reminder that even legends can stumble, but they can also rise again through transparency, teamwork, and persistence. The future of the series now depends on how both developers and fans respond to this moment. The ball is, quite literally, in their court.